Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts like the chart behind me, which is of NRXP, which is a pharmaceuticals company. Just got a request in the chat, so happy to go over that. But yeah, I hope you guys are having a nice weekend. I have to be at work in the morning, so I'm kind of bummed about that. Could have a longer weekend. And I just ate a bunch of candy, so I was gonna have a drink, but I had too much candy, so I'm just gonna be hanging out with some water. So nothing too exciting to cheers with, but happy to cheers to you guys. Happy weekend, and yeah, hopefully this is an exciting week. It's the first 5-day week we'll be having that we've had in or that we will have after about 3 weeks of 4-day weeks. So I'm excited for that. All right, so I'm just going to catch up on the chat here. What's up, Saul and Quodwo? I got your ticker up here. Saul and Benjamin, how's it going, everybody? And so Saul is requesting KITT. Cool, yeah, and somebody else requested MBOT, and so I can go over that as well. But there's actually a video that I posted on the channel on robotics that I think is probably better than anything I could go over, because I think that guy goes over them pretty routinely. But yeah, so I'll get started on NRXP. Quodwo saying, and Benjamin, yeah, before I get into it, I was wondering if you wanted me to go over blank. I'll add it up to the list and I'll go over it. I'll go over the ones that have been requested in the chat first, and then I'll go over the ones from requests from prior comments and stuff. And yeah, so I will go over NRXP first from Quodwo saying, please review this ticker. Look into STC, let's see, sell to close. The rest of my January, so this is from Quodwo, is January $2.50 calls in at 40 cents and buy some February calls. Okay, so I'd have to look at the, I probably won't look at the options. Well, maybe I could look at some unusual whales data, but I probably won't just look at the options table necessarily. But yeah, so Quodwo's got some $2.50 calls, and he's also buy to open some February calls after selling the January one. So he's thinking this is going to continue higher, but wants to sell the shorter dated calls to then effectively like roll them or buy calls that expire in February. So let's see. Just trying to get an idea. Yes, this. All right. Let's see. So this is going back to the high from November of 2022. And yeah, okay. I might just do this. I don't know that it will yield anything interesting, but I'm just doing a retracement or an extension, I guess. So that's for the 100% retracement, which that would just mean that it's going up this distance. I don't typically do extensions like this, so we'll just see if I do understand this correctly. Going from there to there. And then that would be going from there to there. So yeah, maybe this could be going to 1165, but you know, that's pretty far up from where it's currently at. And so I could probably add some other levels to this to see where they're at, if they make sense with prior highs or anything like that. Yeah, so I feel like 750. I was thinking on like the peak over here. It's right around 750, maybe a little bit higher. That's the 618 from that extension. And maybe I'd even want to at another level, just like from the lows over here. Because, yeah, I mean, that support here moved up, pulled back to support, went up, and then broke down, consolidated around there. That level is actually right around where current price is at 488. So, you know, I guess I'm not too surprised that it's stopping here. Hopefully it continues to hold up here, and then it's just like putting in a bull flag, so then it could continue higher. And if it is to be putting in something like, you know, consolidating over here, we could do another Fibonacci extension. Actually, I might take a step back to go from this low over here of 110. And then, you know, if the high over here is 492, and while this is behind, let's say it does pull back to that low from Thursday, which was $3.20. So maybe it consolidates like that. And then the 100% for that extension would be around $7. So I could see this maybe going to the 7 to like 750 range if it does consolidate here. I would think for like a week, and to continue to show strength and then break higher. Oh, crap. And so, yeah, I mean, I hope that's helpful. But I can look at, let's see, some of the unusual whales data. So, let's see. I think I can do like TRL. These are all going to be old. I'm just going to clean this up, and hopefully I can then just add some more tickers to this list. Or actually just the one ticker, really. So that is NRXP. So let's search that. And so you got some January calls in at 40. So let's see. No. I guess I'll just look up. These are expiring soon. 250. And then I will also do February, which I imagine you want to do the same strike. Or maybe, I mean, we could do something, because current price is below 5, but, you know, really I'm saying it could be going to 5. And so just, I'm not the best at interpreting this data. Just the stuff that's behind me here. But what we see in that is that, you know, stock price went up on Friday, which we can, you know, see over here pretty clearly. Went up and stayed up. And with that, calls are being bought as the net call premium in green here goes up and stays up. And initially, the first couple hours of trading on Friday, it looks like calls were being sold because the net call premium went down. It was negative. Well, actually, it wasn't negative, because maybe it was. Yeah, I guess. I think it was negative because there's the horizontal line here. I think that's the 0. So we can actually. Yeah, it's pretty close to 0. And over here, yep, gets negative. So that's why it's red. The volume's red here, and then it flips over to green. Puts were not really that active relative to calls. And it looks like, yeah, the net call premium is going up. So that looks good as far as I understand. And then if I show, let's see, over the past 30 days, this has gone up, and Quotewo got in at like 40 cents, so right around here where the cursor is, and it is now trading, let's say the low, even the low from Friday was 55 cents, but let's see where did it close at. I have to look at. Yeah, so above $2, so that's a really nice trade, Quoto. Congrats on that. As far as looking at, I mean, just really from looking at the chart, I feel like 750, you know, is a number to consider. So I'm just going to look at the 750 call. This was a spike, 8,000 on that one. This spike was 52,000 candle premium on January 3rd. And then this candle premium, $3. So like the $5 strike for February is probably, as far as just premium goes, probably more interesting. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, and the 750 would have like gaps in volume, so no trading actions. So then if you wanted to sell, there's nobody to really sell to, so you wouldn't get a good fill. It's kind of my interpretation. And so I just see Quoto's comment on this about the great pullback. I think you're just talking about coming down to this level, like, yeah, 320. So, but also too, it'd be good to be seeing it like making higher lows or like, wicks to the downside. So like any going below like 375 bought up. So that would be good. But yeah. And let's see. Man, my eyes are always like so tired when I start these streams. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, hopefully that was helpful. I'll move on to the next ticker, and let's see. I'm just checking the other comments. Hey, Leonard, what's up? Did I hear Donald Trump say he's going to continue to make all his presidential big announcements on Truth Social? I did not know that, but I don't have a Truth Social account, but I spend a good amount of time on X, and I frequently see people sharing screenshots of his truths. I guess that's what they're called. I'm just mainly familiar with Twitter and X. It's like that and YouTube are the two like social media platforms that I spend my time on. A little bit of Reddit, but not so much. And so yeah, somebody did request DJT, so I can go over that. And that could actually, just his presidency alone could be really good for DJT if he's using that. Like he used to be so active on Twitter, but and also I don't know if you guys watch Joe Rogan, but Mark Zuckerberg was just on that, and they were talking about removing Trump and all that and stuff. So if he's just posting to Truth Social, then yeah, it could be good for it. I would imagine so. I'm surprised DJT isn't at $50. Yeah, so Guilty Gunner's saying that he's surprised DJT isn't $50 plus going into inauguration. It might be going up into it, so we'll see. But I'll go over the chart. I haven't really looked at it much. And then Alan is saying, looks like the mark is about to crash. So I'm not sure what that means, the mark. Indeed, the 5 strike. Yeah, cool. That's what Quoto is just saying from the NRXP. Yeah, the $5 strike seems like there's some nice volume on that. And this is for that what expires in February. For me personally, just because I'm still getting used to options, and like if you watch my options videos, my expirations are like far out into the future. But I just yeah, I mean, I'm getting more familiar with options, and so something that's expiring in February would make me a little anxious. But the the premium for it probably trading around $1. I imagine if we do look at the 1 day, so the yellow dots are like the premium. So it hit a low right here, 45 cents. Currently trading around 90 cents. So that's not terribly expensive or anything, but I'm more used to looking at contracts that expire 6 plus months from now. And also this is not a terribly expensive stock at about $5. So yeah, but yeah, I'll come back to the charts and I will look at the request. So I went over Quotos. Then Saul was requesting KITT. So I'll do that, and I might also combo it with MBOT. And because these charts look pretty similar. And before I get into them, I just kind of want to give a shout out because I am probably not the best at, let's see, the robotics stocks. And I had previously posted, let's see, a video from, where was it? Yeah, this guy. So I'm not too familiar with him, the chart readers, but this is a video where he goes over KITT, MBOT, and I feel like he tends to go over them fairly routinely. The way that he was talking in this video, it's about 30 minutes long. It seemed like he routinely kind of goes over them. So if you are interested in the robotic stocks, I would recommend checking out the chart readers. I don't really know his stuff too well, but he does seem like, he does some good analysis, So just as, another resource. And then, coming back to the chart, so I'll go over KITT first. And so what I would do with this is just do a Fibonacci retracement going from the low here, 82.1 cents, going up to 6.4 cents. The 786 is around 193 or 194, so maybe that's a level it could be going to. But I kind of feel like, because it's had this move up here and then pull back and then move up, I feel like I might actually just want to move this to there. And so, 250, the lows hit on January 8th was 308. So could still go a little bit lower, but it may also be finding support that's associated with a different level, like maybe the 618 or the 65% retracement. That just makes a little golden pocket right there. And let's just look at the historical data, see if there's anything that would make sense as being kind of a little support shelf. Yeah, I feel like, it's consolidating here. And so that's like where this is. But if that breaks, you see this wick come down. And that does seem to coincide with the tops over here. That was a low of $2.65. So I do have that marked right there. And so, I guess I would look for, or be prepared for the possibility of it going down to like 265. But it could also have found that support with, the consolidation over here, that being the support. Just all that trading there, people buying it up. Volume, I'm not the best at analyzing this, but, volume goes up here, it moves up, then it kind of comes back, it goes down. So I think that's probably a sign that this is not going to continue higher. And then as it pulls back, it settles here. It looks like, relative to that green volume day over here, this doesn't look that big, but volume has been increasing a little bit. It was like 8.2 million, 8.23 million, and then 12.5 million. So it has been increasing a little bit. And on the day of this little increase in volume, there's kind of a big wick to the upside, and that would be let's see, I'm just going to remove the drawings for a second. That would be a pretty nice looking gravestone doji, so just like an inverted dragonfly. And the open was 314, closed at 308, so not at the exact same price, but did put in a wick up there. So I would say I'd look for it to come down to around 265. Maybe, what was the low on the 8th? 272. So maybe 272 to 265. Maybe that's a dip buying level if it holds. But if it does come down to that range, I think that could be pretty nice. So hopefully that's helpful. And I might just do kind of the exact same thing with MBOT, which actually, this had this nice little move up here. KITT did, pulled back and then move higher. Whereas MBOT, it didn't really have that big of a move here. It was all over here. And this, big wicks to the top side, really like I don't even know if these would be like spinning tops, but you know, price trading or opening and closing right around the middle, big wick to the top side and downside. And this, I guess, I don't know, it's like an increase in volume. Oh wait, that's not volume. Sorry. That's one of the things that I do. That's the histogram. But the volume down here. So price goes up, volume moves up, and then price continues up, but it kind of gives a questionable signal. Maybe it's putting in a top with that big wick there, but volume strong. And then on the next day, it stays kind of flat, but volume flattens out. And so I don't know. I would think that's kind of a tough call because, if it's just doing kind of the same thing and volume's not, I guess maybe what that would tell me, I'm just trying to, think about what will be going on this day during that trading. If price opens up here and then comes down and then goes a little bit higher, but there was only this much volume traded when price dipped lower, and that wasn't able to really rally it higher. There wasn't enough volume to rally it higher, just enough to kind of maintain it. That just means there aren't enough buyers really above like 286, at least not at this point. And then so MBOT pulled back. How would I'll probably just do it from over here, just a little Fibonacci retracement from the low of 93 cents up to the high of 338. And, really very similar to KITT. It looks like it's currently consolidating right around the golden pocket. Same with MBOT, these two levels here. So, I think that this one could possibly be coming down to around $1.50. But it's also quite possible that it holds the 60 or the golden pocket. I was going to say the 65% retracement, but 618 just kind of being approximate in that range. And then since this wasn't like a big move up here and a consolidation, whereas it was more notable with KITT, I'm just going to see what level it did pull back to from here. Yeah, it looks like it pulled back to the that golden pocket, the 618. Looks like it served as pretty nice support. And when it did move up, let's try to get these candles to not distort the scale too much. But I got a big move up and then some consolidation before this big move. And as it was cooling off, volume was cooling off. So, hopefully it's helpful on those two. I just got to stay hydrated. Maybe I'll add this to, let's see, the DGen ed list, as well as MBOT and NRXP. Cool. So it's just going to catch up on the comments here on the chat. Hey, Sandy, thanks for liking the thumbnail. Yeah, I was initially going to do one with Ed and I think I was going to do Pepe the Frog holding buckets of water with a burning city behind them. But I thought maybe that's too morbid, and I'd rather look at something more fun. And so I can actually show you some of the other thumbnail options. I just like to go into, so I like to use Grok to make images. It's pretty fun. And so if I just look at the history, let's see. Oh, man. This is funny. I'm embarrassed by this because Autism Capital is always talking about, look, another, like, you're one of us, referring to, something, and then just mention pattern recognition. And I have always noticed I recognize patterns and things like numbers and stuff like that. So I asked Grok if it, I'm a little embarrassed about that. And then let's say animal saving hero save. So maybe it's this one. I like claymation. Yeah, so it was going to be Pepe and oh, actually, I just want to look at. I don't want to look at my chats. I just want to look at the images. I'm like defending the stupid things I asked Grok. The one that I liked this. Oh no, because that's not Pepe. Sometimes he screws up and doesn't do Pepe. But yeah, like claymation stuff. I find if I do like a claymation chimpanzee by himself, he can look really weird. Like, I mean, look at that. But I think it's just getting influenced by Pepe. And there are a couple that I kind of liked. That I was thinking about making. I think it was this one. No, man, these aren't Pepe. So must have been. I think it was. Sorry if you guys aren't interested in this. I do enjoy Grok. He's fun. It might have been this one. Yeah, I think this is what I was going to use. And one of the things that I find really interesting about Grok and really just like AI image generation in general is just like how they handle hands. And so I think this is pretty easy for it to handle hands just because it's, like supposed to look like claymation. It doesn't have to look realistic. But I find it really interesting that on Ed's right hand, he has 4 fingers and a thumb. But then on his left hand, he only has 3 fingers. Same with Pepe. And then on this hand, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fingers, maybe, and then the thumb somewhere. So, yeah, I wonder if there's a bias in like being incorrect with the number of fingers on one hand versus the other. But yeah, I enjoy making claymation images using Grok. So, yeah, fun stuff. And let's see. CGBS, and so I'm just going to add these to the list, and then I'll start looking at the other ones that are up there. So that's Crown, LNG Holdings, LGBS, and then GRYP, Gryphon Digital, and let's see. So that's from Shout Entertainment. And hey, Nameless, what's up? I look like Chris Pine now. Thanks. Yeah. I just need to meet some ladies, and then I'll be all set. And Nameless is requesting I go over Pags most definitely, and STNE. I think it's been a while since I looked at that one. And then also I see Hydro Hustla. Message retracted. So let me know if you've got a request, and I'll take a look at it when I come back around. And Damon, what's up? LPSN, yes, I'll do that as well. I'm just going to try to go through them in order. Some of these that are up here were requested in comments, so I can get to them later. But I might remove the ones that I have gone over before I dive into the next one. But I'm just going to check to see the chat, which one that is. And so that will be Blink, so I'll go over that for Benjamin. But I'm just going to delete these that I've gone over so I don't get overwhelmed with the list, because it can be kind of overwhelming at times. But yeah, Blink. All right, so let's see. And I might just go over to the EV charging station list, because I was feeling like, so just looking at ChargePoint, because this is the one that I hold, so I look at it more. If you I guess kind of want like a little bit of my breakdown of my sentiment with it, I do go over it in the options video, but I was just hoping that this wick over here, this Dragonfly doji more or less, just needs to be a little bit higher up. Could be putting in a bottom signal following this down move, and also with that being, at these levels that I have drawn here. And so I was thinking like, hit a low of 108 on Friday, which was like the low over here from November 13th. And so I'm hoping it holds that. But if it does break a little bit lower, it could be respecting this slight uptrend, which is based on the low from November 21st and December 31st. Very slight upslope. This is a low of 105, and then here a low of 106. And so, yeah, I mean, I feel like ChargePoint could be coming down to like 106 to 108. I wouldn't necessarily be surprised by that. So maybe there's a little bit more downside with EV charging station stocks, but I'm hoping that with those levels there in this kind of downtrend that I've drawn, which may not mean much, hoping that's a bottom. And so for Blink, I'm just going to go back to the request list so I don't get too distracted. So this looks pretty nice. It does look like, yeah, I don't know when the last time I went over this. Maybe it was last Sunday. Can't remember. This downtrend, has been tested multiple times. And it looks like there's a breakout. So I think that's good. And this green line is at 153. And yeah, and then I got also lows from here, 150, 140. I got a lot of levels at 150. And yeah, I guess it did, close below 148, which is a level that, I had an alert here because I think I talked about that. Got one close below, and then it went lower, but didn't close lower. So that was a dip buying opportunity. But then here, closed below 148. And then closed below that, the low that was hit when it broke that level. So this was a little bit concerning, but, always good to question, like, when this happens, is there a possibility of it being a fake outbreak, a fake confirmation? And then that's exactly what we saw on this day on the 2nd. So that was good. I feel like, because, like, to me, this looks like, oh, it broke. It's confirmed below this level, but maybe 148 wasn't really that significant anymore. Like, it was significant over here, but then it became more significant it became less significant when trading went notably lower, like on the 20th, went to a low of 142. And so maybe 142 is that new level to not close below. And so I might actually move this alert to, I don't know if I can get it to the penny. Cool. I've never moved the alert like that. But yeah, so I mean, I think that 142 is kind of that important level. There was one close below it, but it was able to regain what it had lost. And so what I would do with this chart, just like the other ones that I was doing, I just do a Fibonacci retracement going from the low of 138 up to the high of 182. And I might, let's see, I got a lot of clutter there around 150. This is all kind of a little bit tough to see, but what we have is it looks like it's pulled back to the 618 around 155. The 786 corresponds with 147 about, and that does look like it lines up with 148. So I think, what I would look for this is like over here, came down to 148 and then bounced, broke below it, bounced, broke below it more severely, but then broke not only above 148, but above this downtrend. And so, like a retrace to the scene of the crime, technically, I believe will be coming to this downtrend, which is just kind of approximately drawn there. But I could move that a little bit, just fudge it a little bit to make this look actually, I'd say this also makes it a little bit more conservative too, because it hadn't broken out here. It took another day to get out there. So let's just see how that lines up with these other levels. And then again, this is just approximate. I kind of like that. Okay, so there's a little downtrend, broke out, and yeah, I mean that downtrend is below 147. But yeah, I mean, I think if it really pulled down to sub 150, I think that could be the bottom. And if it's respecting that, then I think this could be looking like it's potentially going to make some bigger moves. And another thing, I'm just going to see what's, okay, I'm going to delete that line. Just try to remove some of the clutter. Got 148, got the Fibonacci retracement. I think I should leave. Yeah, I'm just going to leave those levels there. I might remove 153 though. That's just like such a weird level, because looking at the chart like this, doesn't that look like it's slanted up, that green line? It's actually flat. It's a horizontal line at 153. So that's kind of neat. So I'm just going to leave it there. But what am I thinking? What am I thinking? I was going to clean this up to do something. I'm not really sure. Oh, yeah. I was going to do a drawing, which will be kind of an ugly drawing. No, yep, I got it. I know what I want to draw. So I will do... I'm going to do array. I find them a little bit easier to do these with. So I got that line there, and then I'm just going to move this over to here. That actually looks pretty nice. And with that, I'm just going to lock it into place, make the line a little thicker, and purple. I'm going to make it more thick. So that to me looks like, I mean, it hasn't been formed yet, but this could be an inverse head and shoulders with kind of like a double head here. Just got into the pit. And then if it does consolidate around 147 or so, like I was saying, and then moves back up here, that could be pretty nice. And so that would be nice little inverse head and shoulders pattern. And going from, let's see, the base of the head. So there are like two ways to do this kind of measurement. And you'd get different levels for both of them. One is to just take a measurement from the base of, or, it's the top of the inverse head, so the bottom here. And then just draw that up. And then wherever it meets, the neckline, just make that the midpoint. And then that is kind of, where you might expect price to be going. So that's around 227, but since it'd probably be breaking a little bit lower because the neckline is slanted down a little bit, we could just shift that down, and that would be around 225, give or take. Another way to get kind of a similar idea of where price could be going is doing a Fibonacci extension from the low here to the high, and then to wherever the bottom is. Let's just say it's going to be right around, let's say it's at like 148. And so the 100% retracement, that would be around 192. And so that is effectively a measured move that, you have the move to the upside here. And then going from like 148, that's how you get up to that 100%. And above that, what's this light blue line I've drawn here? 199. Not really sure why I have that. I do have a gap just above it, and I think that's sufficient. So yeah, the close on November 7th was $2.01. So, and I mean, that makes sense too. There's probably going to be some resistance around $2. So, yeah, I mean, if this pulls down, and what I think would look really good actually, is if it does, pull back a little bit more, consolidate, and then go up, and this would be around the end of January. If it does get up to that neckline, if it does break through it, maybe it goes up to this 100% level here. And then if it consolidated from there, forming a bull flag with the neckline underneath the flag, then I think that would be really good. Consolidating above, this support. And then from there, you could do another Fibonacci extension. And I'm actually, before I draw this, I'm just going to adjust this one to only include the 100. So then this new one that I draw will only include the 100. And so if I do that, just from like this hypothetical low that we may actually, yeah. So this is all just like imagining where it might bottom here. And then if it goes up to 192 and then like consolidates over here, look at that. The 100% move from that is around 220 or around 222, which is this white line that I have drawn up there, which was this consolidation. So that would make sense. So I could actually see that price. I'll just draw what I think it could be doing. If it does break out from this inverse head and shoulders pattern, could continue higher and then just like consolidate in here before breaking out and then going up like that. And it probably wouldn't look like that or be as efficient as that, or but yeah, I mean, that's just kind of an idea of what could be happening. So I think it looks good, but I think a dip to maybe between 145 to 150, and if it consolidates there, then I think it has the potential to form this inverse head and shoulders pattern. But one thing that I think a lot of people, and myself included, get mixed up with head and shoulders patterns is they can look pretty easy to draw up, and they're kind of a fun pattern, but it can still get rejected over here. And so it might look like, oh, that's an inverse head and shoulders, but it could fail. But this is what I would like to see if it were to succeed. And yeah, I mean, like one way for it to fail is if it moves up to the neckline, but then consolidates below it. Maybe that's, it could be breaking out, but it's like consolidating below resistance rather than consolidating above support. So this would be a much better consolidation than down here, in my view. But maybe consolidating down here would be good. But it'd be nice to see it above $2 and get this gap filled, all of that. So yeah, hopefully helpful. That's like my tagline, hopefully helpful. So let's see, I'm just catching up on the comments. And so there are some questions about comments about Trump, so I might go over DJT next. And let's see, LPSN, and then Einhander saying, Ed, are you paying any mind to Roaring Kitty's subtle messaging and social media? I have been. Maybe I'll take a little detour to do that for a second, just because it's kind of fun. And so I'll go over to homepage here and just search Roaring Kitty. And so this one, I mean, for me, I feel like those who hold GameStop don't like this, but I think that he's not a one-trick pony. Like GameStop is not the only thing that he's going to be trading. I think that he still has a bullish thesis on GameStop. I still think he's holding it and trading it. But I feel like, I mean, just like he was like, maybe I should do a video on this because I think it's kind of poetic. And I like all of his tweets, but then they get removed eventually for some reason. But so, Andy is playing with his toy Woody, aka Chewy, and then he drops it. And then so it's like Andy's looking for a new toy. What's that new toy? That new toy is Buzz Lightyear. Nope, it's actually not Buzz Lightyear. It's not Chewy. It's you. What's this Time magazine cover? It was for the year. I did a video on it, kind of like a, let's see, where are my videos? Let's see. I think it was like the conspiracy tinfoil hat one. So I think that's it. The one that I went over. So, maybe it's this. No, this is probably, I think this and this. Actually, no, this is more of or not a conspiracy theory, a tinfoil hat theory. Oops. This one I go over more of like the justification for why this could be Unity software. Just looking at the Unity software logo, looks like the box. But, maybe it's just like Roaring Kitty in the box, and it's, GameStop, as you would expect from him. But yeah, so I mean, I'd recommend checking out that video. I guess it's kind of long. Wow. I've been doing longer videos lately. Wow, and that one dang, I'm impressed. I did that on Christmas Day, over an hour long, and it got 934 views. So that's a pretty cool one. But yeah, so let's look at the Time magazine cover U. And so this is from Wikipedia. And so that's, I'm going to go to images. So that is you. This is the Time Magazine Person of the Year cover there, but this is a Twitter bio. So maybe this will be a higher resolution version of it. Well, actually, I don't want to open up Time. I want to open up open image in new tab. So this one, it says, this is something that I was not aware of. Somebody posted about it and Richard Newton picked it up, and I tend to watch his videos. I don't necessarily pay attention to them when I watch them because they're like some of the tangents that he goes on. Also, I'm not religious, so I don't follow that stuff. So I do kind of zone out in his videos, but sometimes I pick up stuff from them, and he did go over how it says in the top for this Time Magazine cover that December 25th and January 1st are listed up here. And also the time, he had manually changed that. So he intentionally removed, the dates from here. And then he tweeted on them for 2024 and 2025. And then the numbers over here, that was 0, and then for 2006. And he changed that to 109 and 420. So what's the significance of 109? I'm not really sure. We didn't get a tweet from him or an update on January 9th or 10th, considering that the market was closed on the 9th for Jimmy Carter. So yeah, I'm not really sure what those mean, but also in the video here, I believe, or maybe it was in the this video, I'm not sure. Man, I had such I look like a different person. But there was also somebody, it was probably in this as well, I'm not sure, that somebody was talking about how there are 2 songs from the video game Fury, which he goes over, like he has a tweet. Let's see. Maybe. Okay, let's see. I'm just going to search, find Roaring Kitty tweet that includes a clip from the video game Fury. Basically, has not posted a tweet that includes one tweet referred to a clip from the movie. Okay, maybe I have the name of it wrong. But anyways, that's a rabbit hole. I'd recommend checking out not only, let's see, where is it? This video. I would also recommend checking out this video. I think those will be interesting. But yeah, haven't seen anything from him lately, and I am looking forward to it. But I would definitely recommend, maybe I could just pull up Richard Newton's channel And so, yep, he does like a video every morning. He was actually considering stopping to do the videos. He's been like covering GameStop for, I think like 3 years every day. And he is fairly, I don't know, fairly religious. Maybe to some of you, he might not be that religious. But in all of his videos, you know, he does go over like a Bible passage at the beginning. So maybe that's not for you. For me, it's just like, well, you know, that helps him and it probably helps some of his viewers. And so, you know, great for them. But then he just goes over data that he's compiled over years, goes over charts, goes over, you know, tinfoil hat theory. So he's somebody I'd recommend following if you want, you know, just pretty consistent content on GameStop. And so, yeah, his description is, this channel is about the GameStop saga. None of this is meant to be financial advice, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so I'll come back to the charts. And yeah, Benjamin, no problem. Glad you like the analysis I did on Blink. I'm going to move to the next one. Let's see. Okay, a DJT. I'll do that now. Which, yeah, seems... I had drawn some lines on it. I don't really follow this one that much. But yeah, I had drawn this line, and it had pulled into that level at some point. I'm not sure if it was pulling in over here. I think I tweeted about it whenever I drew this line. It might have been when it got rejected here. Yeah, and then it just broke higher. I imagine then that was in October, middle of October. And so, I guess, I don't know. You know, one thing that I could do, this is kind of a fun little feature. I don't do this too often, but I might do this just as a little experiment for us. I'm going to take a screenshot of this and ask Grok what he thinks about it. And maybe I want to... Whoops. I don't know what happened there. Oh, man. Weebolt just crashed, so I got to open it up. Okay, so I'm going to go to the request list and pull up DJT. Okay. So yeah, this is kind of the time frame I want. I'm going to remove my drawings and I will ask Grok what he thinks about it. And so let's see. If I include the text here, I think that I would rather him just interpret it. And I'll include the dates at the bottom. And I should probably include the prices over here. Oh, man. Let's see. I'll just get this. It's a little bit better. Okay. So I'm just going to take a screenshot and see what Grok... Dang it. I will install the update later. All right, so... All right, I'm just copying that to my clipboard. And then let's go to ask Grok. Bullish or bearish? Based on the provided chart, here's an analysis of the current market sentiment. Price action. He used to give longer answers. I wonder why it's... oh, there we go. Based on the provided chart, here's an analysis of the current market sentiment. Price action. The price has shown a significant uptrend from... And it would be nice to like... Let's see. What I might do is maybe I'm going to take a screenshot of his response, and I'm going to like it. And then I'm just going to read it while we... And actually, well, maybe I can... Now I'll... Let's see. Just take a screenshot like that. And then I will open and preview. My eyes are getting dry. All right, so I'll just, I'm just going to be reading it on the screen. Well, maybe you guys want to see it. So what I might do here, I'll adjust the chart and then I'll have it like this so we can, see this together. Okay, so based on the provided chart, basically that time frame, that's right here. Price has shown a significant uptrend from mid-October, which would be, over here. Really, it was like the middle of September when it formed the bottom. The end of, so uptrend in October to early November, reaching a peak around $54. Since then, the price has consolidated and moved sideways with some minor fluctuations. The recent trend seems to be a slight decline, but still within the consolidation range. And so considering the MACD, so right here, the MACD indicator shows that the histogram is close to zero, indicating potential weakening of momentum. And the MACD line is above the signal line, which is actually not true. For some reason, Grok always switches them. Clearly, the histogram is negative, which means the MACD is below the signal line. But the distance is decreasing, which could suggest a bearish divergence if the price continues to decline. But the distance is decreasing, which could suggest bearish divergence. So, I mean, it's kind of neutral, and I guess that would mean because this is getting closer to green, maybe that could be going higher. And then considering the RSI, which is at 50, the RSI is at 52.38. So, which is close to the overbought territory, but yeah, I mean, I could correct Grok, but I don't think it's really worth it. But yeah, just looking at well, because it says RSI 69.97 there, but it's actually 52.38. I could correct Grok, but it's not worth it. Let's see. Because, yeah, I mean, because we can just fill in the blanks. Oh, man, I keep switching to the wrong app. Okay, so, because it's like close to 70. It's actually pretty close to 50, as you can see right there, 52. And so this could indicate that the asset might be overbought and a correction might be due, leaning towards a bearish sentiment. And so thinking about just like the RSI, it has been forming like lower highs. The stock price also lower highs, lower lows. This has been higher lows. So that could be bullish divergence, but it's pretty minor. And that might be a hidden bullish divergence. But yeah, volume, there's a noticeable drop in volume. Yeah, that is a good point. Over here, tons and tons of volume. Here, not much. So that would actually make me think, before he gets to it, that if there isn't much volume here and it's consolidating, maybe buyers could be running dry, or they could just be on the sidelines before it gets pumped again. So what he says is there's a noticeable drop in volume from the peak in early November to now, suggesting less interest or conviction in the current price movement. Lower volume during a consolidation phase often indicates a lack of strong buying or selling pressure. And so, yeah, it's like either way, I mean, it's just consolidating, so it doesn't really have too much. And so given these points, the bullish indicators are that the price is still above the previous consolidation range, which I think would be over here. And the MACD line is still above the signal line, which is not true, which can be seen as slightly bullish. It would actually be slightly bearish because it's red here, but it's pretty slight. And then bearish indicators, the RSI is nearing the overbought territory, which is actually not true. It's closer to 50, which is neutral. And so the MACD histogram is approaching zero. The MACD histogram is approaching zero, and there's a decrease in volume all of which leans towards a bearish sentiment. But this is kind of mixed. So anyways, I think he's going more bearish, but I think some of the bearish things that he's talking about are not really based on facts, because this is 52 and this is negative. Let's see. But what we can do with this is just a little retracement from 1175 up to the high of 54.68. And so got a nice bounce from the golden pocket, so I think that looks good. But I just think that, you know, this uptrend that I had talked about very briefly, I mean, we bounced on it over here, then broke below, moved back up to it, got rejected from it, pulled back, and then broke above, and then broke back under it. Now we're trading under it. So I think that's a pretty important level. That would be, you know, corresponding with right around $40 a share. So it would be nice to see 40. And let's see. And then I'll just do a Fibonacci extension from this low up to the high and then down to the low here. We could see where the next move to the upside would be right around $69. So that's a fun level. But maybe it would be bumping into resistance, you know, around the tops here. And that would be around like 55 bucks. So, but this could, let's see, it would be an ugly one. But if it were to get up to around $55, that would potentially be kind of an ugly inverse head and shoulders. Maybe this is a cup handle and up. So maybe something like that could be formed. So, and then just doing like the same kind of measurements that I normally do, just from the low in the head to the neckline, which I can't even get up to adjust that. And I move that up to that neckline. Now that could be bringing price up to around $100. So quite the possibility, especially if there's going to be more activity on Truth Social due to Trump's activity there when he's the president. So yeah, pretty interesting chart. But I do think that it is a little bit concerning that it is consolidating below this level, which I'll kind of make thick and, I don't know, red. A little bit cautious there. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful. And I'll try to catch up on the other tickers. And I've been doing this for just about an hour. And then I might sign off after that. I should have brought more water. I ate way too much candy before streaming. And now I'm dehydrated. And my eyes are tired too. Okay, and so Susan, I see Susan had a comment on MBOT, which I didn't mention before. MBOT looking great after they raised a bunch of money through the offering. So I did go over MBOT earlier. So yeah, I mean, I'd recommend checking that if you missed it, but I imagine you commented that when I was going over it. Sorry, I missed the comment though. And so I'll do CGBS next, which is this one. Let's see, I just want to see where they're. So there weren't a bunch of reverse splits, so that's good. But it is trading around $1. So this one, market cap, $440 million. And this company is a limited liquid natural gas infrastructure company. The company provides offshore liquid natural gas liquefaction and regasification. And so, yeah, so it's a LNG stock, liquid natural gas. And I want to switch back to the news. And this one, I mean, for me, this seems a little risky. It's also, I mean, yeah, this massive wick to the upside and then a pullback. And so following that trading day, it may not seem like a lot here. Let's just see. It went down 40% from there and then moved back up higher. So that's good, but still big wicks to the upside. So it's like price can rally up, but then it's sold back down by the end of each trading day. And then so I would say this doesn't look so good. With this move up here, you have volume increasing, so that, looked good, although it was on a red day. And so that would, I'm just trying to like interpret what I see and have the volume support what I'm thinking, and hopefully it makes sense. But like volume increases here as price goes up. But then following that, there's this pullback. But because this volume was increasing, maybe there's another chance at it. And then going up here, volume does increase, but then on Friday, volume decreases. So I feel like this could be putting in a top. And with that being said, I could like scroll back to all these lows over here. I'll just do it kind of locally like this. I would say 70 cents seems like a level it could be pulling back to. And the reason for that is because you have overlap with trading on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. And it's above that right now. So I would think this level starts to act as some pretty notable support. And maybe if I wanted to draw it as a little box, that would correspond with, the top of this candle here of that trading, and then down to this one. So in this range, there is trading of really like all of these candles right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because this is getting to the bottom there. Yes, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trading days. And this is 1, 2, 3, just getting to the top of this candle here. That's a 4th, 5th, and 6th candle. So that could very well be some nice support. So that would be a range from like 70 down to like 62 cents, maybe 60 cents. But I think if it goes, if it starts to go lower than that, like the reason why I don't want this line to go lower than 62 cents is because the low on January 2nd was 62.01 cents. And so you get that overlap there. And then you go down a little bit more. You might not have overlap with that candle, but then you're getting overlap with this candle. So this is like kind of that nice midpoint. And I guess, maybe a way to think about it is from this range here is where you have at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles overlap at all times. And right in the middle is where you get to have 6 days of overlap at 62 cents. So I'd look at 65 or 66, 62, and then down to like 56. So hopefully I could be finding some support there. That's pretty much what I would just look at. Otherwise, I could do a Fibonacci retracement, but I don't know that it would really tell us that much. Maybe I could do I don't know how useful extensions are to the downside, but yeah, let's just try this. It's from the top here to the bottom here, and then to this top, because that would be suggesting that this is going lower. If it does break below the low here, it could be coming down to like 31 cents. But I think that there are probably some levels it might hit before then, so that's why I'm just going to do a regular Fibonacci retracement. And it looks like the just below the golden pocket is the top of the shaded region, and that will be around 70 to like 66 cents, and the 786 is around 57 cents, right in the middle of that shaded area. So those are two levels that I would look for. Yeah, so hopefully helpful, and I'm going to add that to the DGen Ed list. And so that one was requested from Shout Entertainment. Hey Horatio, what's up? Do I think Greg's birthday will mean anything? To GameStop, I mean. I don't know. I heard like I don't know if it's tinfoil hat or what that Greg is roaring kitty. I don't think Greg's roaring kitty. But I don't think it'll have anything to do with GameStop. But I'm not really that familiar with Greg's connections with GameStop, if any. I've seen that he has exchanged with the what's the rabbit's name? The bunny's name? I forget. I should know that, but I don't. So yeah, I mean, I think that the thing that will have an impact on GameStop's, I'll probably go over that in a minute because I just have a few more stocks to go over. So CGBS, and then I'm going to go GRYP. And then so I'm getting pretty close to the end of the list. And so, yeah, I'm just going to delete the ones that I have gone over. DJT I did go over. I'm pretty sure it's on the DJ and Ed list. That was requested. GameStop is up here. GRYP is one. And then, yeah, so I've just got like these 4 to go over. And then I can do GameStop and let's see, the other one was GameStop, I think. But yeah, so GRYP was requested. This looks like kind of tough. I would think that this is probably going to pull back down because, it's like moving down and then the break that it gets to the upside, it just does this like spinning top formation, giant wick to the upside, so it can't hold those gains. And then a big wick to the downside. There are buyers stepping in. And so I guess with that being said, it's like probably at a pretty important level right now, like 45 cents. And that does correspond with the consolidation over here. So I'd like to see that holding. If it doesn't, though, maybe like corresponding with like the lows over here. The consolidation that's here, that if you go lower, disappears, is then, covered by the consolidation over here. So like 41 cents, 40 cents approximately, could be a nice level for a pullback. And if I do a retracement, and I'm going to make that yellow just so it looks a little different. I wouldn't necessarily think the 618 is like around 44 cents. I wouldn't necessarily think that's going to be that notable. So I'd look more for like, let's see. I mean, these are all just pennies away from each other. Like 40 to 42 cents. I'd look for it to hold those levels as support. But it does look fairly weak. Market cap 23 million. And let's see, there's a reverse split here, 1 for 20. Another reverse split over here that is 1 for 20. And if we go back 2 years' time, I'm just going to switch this over to the yearly candles. What was the price of it? So this year just started. So for 2024, what was the high? The high was $9, and the high the previous year was $46. So I think the rule of thumb is if it's less than $1,000 going 2 years back, then you're okay. They're not doing too much dilution, but they are doing some. So, I mean, I would think that this is just like a little risky in that sense, but if it were to hold levels, I would think like between 40 and 42 would be good to hold. But yeah, I mean, because this just looks like kind of a fake out breakout. You draw like a trend line. I'm just going to do a trend line. I'm not going to do a ray. Don't need to be that precise. Just like a trend line here. That goes back to like over here, you know, just approximately. This is all I've drawn. What happened? Where did that go? Okay. This is all just pretty approximate. Oh. But, oh. Yeah, it broke out. And so I think it could be pulling back to retest that. So yeah, like 40 cents is a good one to keep an eye on. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful. And then so I think Nameless, I've got Nameless's request, and then I'll go to demands. And so I've got Pags and STNE. Pags. Cool. I mean, I think with Pags, this is going to be like the same thing that I was saying in the last week. This is fresh in my memory. But yeah, it's just like there's this downtrending red line that I've talked about. And it did wick to, didn't put it in a new low. The low on Friday was 611, so it's like a double bottom here. And it hasn't closed below that downtrend. So, I mean, I feel like this could be a bear flag breaking to the downside. So I think it's good to prepare for that. But it hasn't closed below this level, which I would say at this point, you don't want to be seeing closes below like let's say 612 or 611. I've got the cursor at 613, but I think it could go a little bit lower. And yeah, I mean, with the upside move on Friday, it's only 1.5%, but it's a nice green candle, so hopefully it can break above. Let's see the highs over here. So that'll be around 661. So if it can go up another 30 cents and close above, I think that could be a really nice look in that starting to break out. So this is making me feel more encouraging about this. I was expecting it to be more downside. So this is good. It's still holding. STNE. This one, though, is a little more risky because we got the low from here, which was 773, closed at 785. But yeah, 773. 783. So yeah, closed 2 cents above that low. And it might be like, how I went over the blink chart when it like closed lower, but just see what happens the next day because maybe it reclaims it. And blink reclaimed it. So with this, it doesn't look so great because it is putting in lower lows, but volume's up and it did hold above that level. So it looks like buyers are stepping in above like 783. So I think there's still some hope with this one. And a level that may not be that useful because it's going to be, I think it's going to be down. Nope. Yeah, I'll draw a downtrending line. And I'll show you what I was thinking about drawing a line from here to here. That is downtrending. I thought this looked a little bit higher. So the low on the 20th was 789. The low over here was 783. I've already talked about that. And so that's just a nice little downtrend. Did wick down to it, pierced it, coming down to 773, but did close above those levels. So those are two lines I'd be looking at and monitoring. And so hopefully no closes below 783. And yeah, that's really what I would definitely be looking for. If it closes below 783, then it's like, well, maybe this downtrending level could be acting as support, but it's also like a downtrending level of support. And so that can, just be going down for a little while. But I think that the candle from Friday actually looks pretty good. Like it could be putting in a bottom. And also too, because it's like, if I have this position, I've talked about stop losses before, and it's like, oh, well, the low over here on the 20th, 789, Okay, if it goes lower than that, I'm going to have a stop loss. This pushes people out of their positions, then so others can load up and then ride it up. And then the same type of thing, you know, they might have a stop loss here at 783, sweeps the lows, shakes people out of their positions, and then it rallies from there. And like the price target for it could potentially be like up to like $9.30 or $9. But, you know, it does have to be breaking above this level here at $8. And then the high over here is 8.55. So yeah, hopefully those levels are helpful. And I can hardly see. And so Coinage asked a question about AMC, so I'll throw that up here, but I'll probably encourage you to watch my like 2-month thesis video that I put out a couple Fridays ago, and that's just kind of like the analysis I'm going with for myself and what I think is probably not going to change unless some aspect of it gets invalidated. But I'll go over the chart in a minute. I just need to go over a couple more. Damon, let's see, I had his request. Sorry if I've been keeping you waiting, but yeah, I see your request there. And so LPSN. So yeah, this is one that, you know, I find to be really cool what happened, because I mean, I was talking about it potentially finding, what's this level here? I'm going to delete that. Finding resistance here. Oh, Damon, thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, and hopefully my analysis is helpful. Last time, I think, this was the Friday, I believe, a couple weeks ago. The 27th, yeah, I was talking about this downtrend potentially being resistance. It does look like, I mean, you know, from that close on that day, let's see. I'm going to delete this line as well. From the close on that day when I went over on the 27th, closed pretty low here, the base of that candle. And then the next day had gapped up, wicked down. So getting to like the high from that Friday, getting in at that time would have been fine. And then it moved up to, let's see, the 100% retracement from this Fibonacci. And so I'm just going to delete, since it already went up to the 100%, we don't really need the other levels as guides. I'm going to delete the other one, so it's just the 100% on there. I'm going to lock that in place, and man, I might make that yellow. And so yeah, that was around 210. The high that was hit just like 2 days after I went over it was 208, and I had drawn that Fibonacci extension. So that was like, I mean, really just like $2. That was a good level to get out of. This is, you know, one, you know, I was looking at the chart and it's like, well, man, I feel like pretty confident in that, but I just don't want to spread myself too thin. And so just from like the high from the 27th up to like $2, that's like a 90+% move in the span of 2 days. So very nice. Where could I see it pulling back to, consolidating at? Man, I'm thirsty. Oh, I think I know why I'm so thirsty. I went for a run today. I don't know if you guys have any New Year's resolutions, but I don't necessarily have New Year resolutions. I just like I'm always just excited to start a new year. It's a new chapter. And part of the reason, like cut my hair and shave the mustache, just new me. And also I feel like that will just help me to like, okay, I'm going to, you know, take better care of myself. I'm going to go for runs and stuff. I used to run a good amount. Like a year and a half ago, I ran in, it's not the Chicago half marathon because they just have, I think, a marathon, and they had this other like half marathon. It was just a long Lakeshore Drive. So it was kind of boring. I was hoping to go through some neighborhoods, but I did a half marathon that I like decided to do it like a month before I ran it. So I wasn't doing any running, or maybe I was doing a little bit, and I decided to do a half marathon. I trained for it in like a month, and I got a really good time. I got slightly above 8-minute miles, which was just like insane. I pushed myself pretty hard on that. I was proud of it. Anyways, I'm just realizing that's why I'm thirsty. That's why like my body's like my arms are a little sore and stuff. But yeah, anyways, from the low here to the high here, we can maybe do a Fibonacci retracement just to maybe see, are there some levels that would correspond with other highs or lows that might suggest support? And I think we see exactly that with this. The golden pocket here ranging from, 127 down to 122. So that's a 618 down to the 65% retracement. Those two levels seem to correspond pretty nicely with the consolidation over here. So I could see that as a potential bottom. Another level is the 786. That's at 105. And the 50% retracement that I have here in red, pretty faint. But that is, at 102.5, so like right around 103. So that kind of corresponds with it over here. And, taking a step back, I might actually make that red line a little bit thicker because I don't know how easy it is for you guys to see. I find the thinner lines harder to see. But, that red line does extend to more consolidation over here. So if it does pull down to 105, that could be like a really good buying level. But if it breaks below that, it could be getting to this like parallel channel, the top of it. And so then that could be coming down to like, sub 1 and whatnot. But I feel like, and you just think about this, you got like these two levels here, the 786 and that 50% in red retracement. Two levels right around the same price. And then also this downtrend kind of converges with them right here. So maybe, let's see, that's the 24th. So like a couple weeks from now, maybe 2 weeks, it fades down to 105. And then that would be like a test of this as support. And if it holds that, then it could be going up pretty nicely. And then one thing I wanted to do is, maybe I've already done it. That's, yeah, it's so funny, these Fibonacci extensions and retracements. So I was just like, well, I want to draw an extension from the low here to the high here, and then to this low to see if that, and that gave us this level here at 210, which, waiting for 210 probably would have been a little greedy. $2, that would have been excellent. But yeah, I kind of wanted to do, so that was from so it hasn't found the bottom yet. So I don't think it's necessarily going to be that useful if I do an extension from here to here, because it could just be coming lower. So yeah, I think I'll just leave it at that. I think that, I don't know which is ideal. I would say that if it consolidates, so I don't plan on trading it or anything, but if it does consolidate around like 125, I would think that that's more likely to break to the downside. And the reason for that is because there's some consolidation over here that would suggest there could be support around that level. And, there's kind of some rough consolidation over here, the trading. So, maybe that would be acting as support. But all that we have there on the chart is, this consolidation, I could draw a line over. And then we have these Fibonacci levels. So, there's that. But with this level here around 105, there's the Fibonacci level, two of them actually. One that's historical that, fairly recently acted as support and then resistance. So it could be acting as support again. And that does coincide with this light blue downtrending channel, which I don't know if it has any significance in the past. I've got to delete this crap. There's just too much stuff on the chart. And this level, don't need to duplicate. Already got the gap there at 240. And this, what is that from? I can delete that. just cleaning this up a little bit so it's not too cluttered. And yeah, I'll leave everything else. I think, yeah, so I'd say a pullback to 105 would be awesome. And to 120, I mean, but it's like maybe 125 is like a good level to add like a quarter of a position or something like that, if in case that does hold as support. And also, you know, I mean, it is below this like purple downtrend. Maybe that's significant, maybe it's not, but current price is below it. Although it did go up a little bit, 2 pennies in the after hours. So I just want to see. It's right at that trend line. So, I mean, yeah, it's like, you know, maybe a quarter position here in case it finds support there and breaks higher. But if it doesn't, good to be able to add at 105 and to plan for it to go that low. And then so let's see, Coinage is trolling me saying, do you ever use the moon to get an idea of the direction? No. No, I mean, all of this stuff, I feel like my moon would probably be options data and stuff. Like if I'm not just looking at the charts, I'd be looking at options data. This one, since it's trading, you know, close to $1, if it does have options, they're not going to be that exciting. And so you're just not going to find that much data there because it's like the amount of like the volume traded on these, you know, 0 for some of these. This one's 600, but the premium is about, you know, 10 to 15 cents. So that's like $6,000 to $9,000. It's not, you know, an unusually large amount of money. So I do think that kind of stuff is useful for charts. And yeah, so Damon, hopefully that was helpful. I just hearted your super. Thank you for that. And let's see. Now I think I'll go over GameStop and then AMC, and then I'll probably sign off. Been doing this for about an hour and a half, and I got work tomorrow, and my eyes are closing. So, yeah, I think I need to go over Gevo though, but I'll do that at the very end. And I'm just gonna delete these ones that I've gone over, and then yeah, GameStop. All right, so this one, I'd encourage watching Richard Newton's videos if you like a lot of GameStop content. He does a video every morning, basically when he's drinking coffee at like 4 in the morning or something. And so, his video comes out after that. So for me, it comes out after I go to work. But you can see on the weekends, they tend to be a little bit longer. This one's about 50 minutes. They're about 30 minutes to an hour long. He does, at the beginning of them, talk about a passage of the Bible, which personally, I'm not religious, so that's not necessarily my thing, but I'm open to it and supportive of others wanting to do that. And he also talks about Pokemon and getting stuff from GameStop. So I think that it's a nice little channel. Yeah, I think that he has some good ideas about stuff. And he's talked about, there is a trend line. I don't think it's the one that I've drawn. He probably has it. Let's see. Maybe what I want to do is clean up some of this stuff. I don't think I need. Oh, that's historical, so I got to have that. But some of the other stuff here, I don't need that. And this, that's the yellow one. Yeah, I don't need that anymore either. What's this 100% retracement? Okay, got that. Cool. Yeah, so that's a little bit less cluttered. I think there's a line here. Probably can't see it, but I'm going to delete it. Yeah, it's like I don't like to erase lines in case they become important later on. And then so I just make them gray. But then when I make them gray, You can't see them. I think there might be, yeah, there's a faint line here where the cursor is. Delete that. And so for this one, I will do a trend line. I think like Richard had something, actually, maybe not like that. I'm not sure, but we haven't had any closes below this uptrend. But yeah, I mean, he was talking about really like, I think the big thing with GameStop that he was talking about was looking over at Max Pain. And so if I go over here to look at Greeks, I can pull up Max Pain in Unusual Whales, GME. And so for this week, Max Pain is 31 bucks. Nope, that was for this past Friday, and we closed above it by multiple strikes. So let's see how this is. I think every 50 cents. Yeah, so I mean, the Max Pain for last Friday, this is January 17th data. But looking at like the way that these strikes are, this is, the Max Pain for last week was $31. And we closed not only above that strike, but above the two following strikes. So I think that's good. It could be resulting in like a gamma squeeze or gamma ramp. But Richard was also talking about how there's the possibility because of that, market makers and whatnot are going to want GameStop's price to be below Max Pain. Otherwise, we could see a pretty big gamma squeeze. And considering that, like if Max Pain is $31 for this, dang it, let's see what it is for next. It's 24. That's a monthly contract. Man, I'm like, I'm doing this because I'm overwhelmed with this looks good. 24 for the Max Pain for the upcoming Friday, the first full 5 days of 2025. Really like the first 5 days in like a month, feels like. But yeah, so January 17th, Max Pain 24. 24 is below this line. Roaring Kitty, his average from his YOLO post on Reddit is 23.41, this red dashed line here. And so, yeah, Max Pain is just above that level. I wonder if it's Max Pain because of Roaring Kitty. But, yeah, I mean, so, like, Richard is essentially being, like, cautious that this could be coming down because market makers will want price to be below Max Pain. Also, he refers to these as, I think, cat ears, the double top. If we look at the double top, we see this one has more volume than over here. I think I might have talked about this in the options video or some video I did on GameStop. So this is like, double top, and this volume's lower, so that potentially doesn't look so good. But it could also be market makers wanting there to be, orchestrating this double top signal so people see it and then are like, oh, well, put in a double top with lower volume, it's going to break down, so I'm going to get out. And so that does seem to suggest what could be happening. So it's good to be cautious of that. And if I just do a retracement here, it looks like the 618 is around 29.30. So we're not there yet, and we haven't broken below these uptrends, or we're not closing below 32.12, the high over here. I think that's an important level. So I think this is probably doing pretty good. And so Greg's birthday with the GameStop, I have no idea, but maybe Greg's birthday is to sell the news and it starts to come down. But I just feel like, if Roaring Kitty has been doing, like planned, it seems, posts, just like looking at the time cover, December 25th, he had posted, let's see. What did he post? He posted this on December 25th. And actually, let's see, what date was this? December 5th. Yeah, so I mean, he's like pretty active. I mean, I think anything Roaring Kitty does is bullish for GameStop. Like, it doesn't have to mean GameStop. It's just he's associated with GameStop, and he's like the biggest GameStop bull. So, regardless of this being the time you cover, this looking like the time, or sorry, the Unity software logo, and this being from Dave Chappelle skit where that ring that's on his finger, it says Unity, and what's his name? I just watched the clip of it. Yeah, what's his buddy's name? I forget. Charlie Murphy. Yeah, Charlie Murphy. He punches Charlie Murphy in the head, and then his forehead says Unity. Um, so I think that this means Unity, but that doesn't mean that. Yeah, I mean, his pinned tweet up here is still GameStop, so he's still into GameStop. So, yeah, I mean, I think that we'll probably be seeing some more activity from him. It's the 12th now, so it's been a couple weeks since this. Time flies, man. So I think that looks good for that. And then coinage stocks, I'm really rooting for AMC. Do you think AMC will hit at least $10 before February? So I'll mention the video that I do my analysis on. So let's see. Oh, my videos. Cool. That just brings me up to Studio, though. So I just want to go over to here. So this is like what you guys would see if you go to the page. I did remove shorts because I haven't really done many shorts, and I just didn't think they were that spectacular. So I removed that. So this should be a little cleaner now. And there's one thing I'll end the video on, which, well, maybe I should do it just now while there's still people here. I did post this poll. Should I release clips from the weekly options theses videos? And so I may not do it for this weekend, but I just thought I'd put that idea out there because, I mean, I personally went for go outside, went for a run, and I was just kind of like lazy today. But people seem to, rather than it just be a long video, to have clips. So I can try to do that next week, and I'll try to be more, I guess, structured with how I go about them. And I need some more water. And, oh yeah, so this is my AMC thesis. So by going to the community tab on the channel, you can get to it. So I was just asking, we going to hit $3.50 mark? Because I do go over that in my 2-month AMC Theaters thesis. I did also, do a video on some DD where I look into basically just like the dilution. I unfortunately was just rubbed the wrong way with the dilution that we had on December 6th. And so I'm just feeling less confident basically because of that, because I think I think a lot of people compare the stock to GameStop, and AMC has just not performed well. There are some days where they perform in a similar way, and I think that would just be because like algos are trading them or whatever. It's like, so that makes sense. And there are, like baskets of stocks that will act in similar ways because they're traded in similar ways by like the big firms. But yeah, I mean, AMC's just looked a lot weaker, and I feel like we've just been diluted into oblivion. And so anyways, I spent 4 hours and 15 minutes going over some like SEC filings and just kind of like compiling a spreadsheet. I'll probably do that again on Friday, but I'll try to limit it to like an hour. And because I did get some comments on, I think the chairs that we're getting and like the laser screens, displays, whatever. And also somebody was talking about, they're kind of making fun of me because I got lost with keeping track of like the ape stuff. It's just, there were a bunch of like 8K filings, I believe, on that day. It was August 28th of 2023 when the filings were submitted. But the ape became, off exchange on the 25th, I think. And that was just like, not only did we dilute at that time, we also had ape and we also had a reverse split. So I just feel like that annihilated a bunch of value for a lot of shareholders at that time. I wasn't really like paying too close attention to it. But since then, the stock price has really just come down. And then if you do just come down, I haven't been doing too many videos lately. And apparently I didn't realize this. I've been covering the S&P a lot. But this is just a clip from one of these streams. But yeah, my 2-month AMC Theaters thesis. So I think that should be a guide for the next 2 months. And if I do just go over it briefly here, my thesis is that we're going to head towards $2.91, but we may not get there. And so that's why I have an alert here at 350. But given how this doesn't look so great here, I think that 350 is more likely to get hit, kind of, as I suggested on that post in the community page of the channel. But I think that $3 could get hit. Like, I don't think that 291 would get hit. That would kind of invalidate my thesis. That gap is to lure those who want to get the share price once that gap has been filled. But I don't think it will get filled. And so that's kind of, my thesis, which I go over the video. And I think that, see, we had the high here of 12. So it's like my 2-month thesis. So that's going to be for January and February. And so do I think it will hit at least 10 before February? I don't think so. Maybe that could change because maybe Roaring Kitty does something, GameStop starts rallying, and other related stocks like AMC start rallying, not necessarily because of Roaring Kitty or because of GameStop, but because of whatever is going on with GameStop that Roaring Kitty seems to be like dialed into. That would be happening in other stocks. So it would be like, it's not caused by Roaring Kitty or GameStop. It's just that he's aware of what's happening to GameStop or has an idea of it. And then as that plays out, that would affect these other stocks. And so it's quite possible that AMC, doesn't go any lower, but it could be following this downtrend. It does look pretty weak here, but that's also could be to like shake people out. And so I would think that it'd probably come down to like 350, maybe 3 in the next month. And then following that, I think it could be moving up towards this gap. When that gap's filled, those who are left behind from this gap recognize they're being left behind, buy here, sending it higher. Those who were slow and didn't recognize they're getting left behind it, then FOMO in up here to push it higher. And so, but first, we need to get above this gap at like around $7 at $6.85. Once we get above that, I think we could be seeing some resistance, maybe a little bit of consolidation, bull flag before like a measured move to the next range. And actually, that might be something useful to do, like a Fibonacci extension. So what am I thinking? Yeah, so what I'm thinking is, I'm working out what I'm thinking. I don't really know. So I'm just going to go from this low here, 372. Hopefully I can get it lined up just right, 372. Then I'm going to go up to this gap fill. So let's assume that we can get there. Oh, wait, actually, no, I don't want to do it from the low. I want to do it from 350 because that's kind of my thesis that will come down lower. So from right around 350, not exactly. And then maybe it comes up to fill that gap, pulls back to this orange uptrend. And then price could be going up there. If we go lower, that just pushes that 100% higher because it's the same distance from here to here as it is from here to here. So yeah, I think that's an interesting way to look at this. That if it moves up, it could consolidate and then go higher. And so if this plays out like right here, this, yeah, I mean, maybe it could be up to like 9 by the end of February. But I think between now and February, I think it might be going lower or maybe starting to move higher. I think it's really going to just depend on if something's happening that like Roaring Kitty is aware of and we just haven't seen it yet. So yeah, I mean, hopefully that's helpful with AMC. And I do see the last request by Chess Dad. Take a look at Bitcoin. Happy to do it. And so I'll look at Bitcoin in TradingView. And I should have something pulled up there. And one thing, though, before I do go over to it, Roaring Kitty, he posted, this meme. I think this was like requested recent, or somebody was mentioning it. But he did post this. He had removed you or whatnot from this. Change the time here. Set what I believe is, okay, volume was already up. This was already up. So he didn't change those things. Oops. So those were like that. But he did change the times to 109 and 420. So that's, telling us something because he changed this. He removed you, and he removed this. So he didn't want to have dates on it. That would be bad. So yeah, who knows what this is going to mean, the times there. So we'll have to see. And now I'll just do TradingView. I was looking at SPY recently. I'll do Bitcoin. I think this is the one that I've been... Oh, this is the 12-month. Because I was looking at the S&P 500. That's funny. I think I was looking at it on the log scale. Oh, this is inverted. Like, this does not look like it should. So yeah, I had drawn levels on this, so I'm going to see, maybe it's the Coinbase one that I was looking at. I guess so. Yeah, I mean, let's see. I don't think I've done a video on Bitcoin recently, but this video I mentioned Bitcoin. I feel like we're making patterns that potentially look bearish, but they're really just bullish consolidation. It's like, is it a head and shoulders? Well, I mean, it could be, it might be, but it could also be bullish consolidation. It hasn't really confirmed a breakdown. Let's see. What was it? There's one. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Oh, no. This video, I talked to Grok about stock market, Bitcoin, crypto, and memes. I think that's a really interesting one. I basically wrote an essay question for Grok to respond to. And so I just read that essay and have some charts along it. I'm not the best editor and stuff. I just don't put enough time into it. But I just read through that, giving kind of my justification for why I think the stock market and Bitcoin, crypto in general, meme stocks could be going higher. Compile that to ask Grok, send it to Grok, and he seems to agree with me. So I think it's a pretty interesting video. So I'd recommend checking that out. But over here, yeah, I think that, let's see, this is the log chart. So have I done, I think that we could be seeing like a fib. So I want to do a fib extension. So just from like the low here, up to this high, and wherever we pull back to, let's say we pull back to like right around 90 bucks, or sorry, $90,000. And so if that's the case, I just want to see, can I make it orange for Bitcoin? If that's the case, then where is the 100%? That's a 786. 100%, dang. It's up there at that spaceship. I must have done this before. Maybe, no, I don't know that I have. But yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, like basically the distance from here to here, I think we could be going up that into the future. And so that would be putting price around 200,000. Maybe it doesn't get there because maybe that's like a target that everybody sees and they're just like expecting it to get there. They're wanting it to get there. But then it just doesn't make it. And so maybe it would get to this level, which is like, looks like 167. And that also corresponds with, I guess I had already done, whoa. I'm confused. I think this is pretty crazy because, yeah, like, and you can see that they don't all line up, but the 786 lines up. So from this retracement that I have drawn here, from the lows here, up to here, and like when there's the halving, and then it pulls back down to this low, the 786 is at 167. This extension that I did from here, if there was to be a consolidation, the 786 is at 167. So that's pretty crazy. And with that being said, maybe it stops at around 150. I feel like with this consolidation that we're seeing now, maybe we get some panic selling, a swoop to the downside. And actually, I used to have like the skill. I used to have it so it'd have the price marked over there, but I removed it for a video. I need to put it back. But yeah, I think that this could be definitely going up to like 150 at some point this year, but it could also be like, I mean, basically like this is kind of the way that I'm thinking about Bitcoin. There's a possibility that this breaks down, it starts to head lower. People have talked about it coming back to the highs over here. Instead of be coming down to like $74,000. There's a possibility that that could happen, but I think it's pretty unlikely because I think a lot of people will see that and expect price to go down there. Maybe we go down to like 80 or something. That would be right around where the cursor is here. And yeah, but I mean, I feel pretty confident in what we're seeing here, that, you know, by the end of the year, we'll be seeing prices well above 108. I feel like in the range between 150 to 200. And so, I mean, if we just look at like the cycle patterns, this is the year after the halving, and the last year after the halving was, I think I probably drew it up here, yeah, because there's the halving here. I think I went over this with Grok. That's why I have this up here, so you should check out that video. But where there's this halving over here, and then we get into the new year, and what? Look at this. Dang it. Sorry for my bad zooming in skills. But this is like, yeah, into the new year, consolidating. This is the end of December, but whatever. But yeah, I mean, this is even like consolidation into, so this is January, beginning of January, consolidation to the downside. And then by the end of January, it had found a bottom and then started going higher. And then it topped. But I think that 21 was kind of an odd year because of, Gary Gensler and the SEC kind of like suppressing crypto. But what we can do is an extension from this little dip here to this here, and then down, and then the tops. It didn't quite get to the 100%, but it did get to the 786. So I think that's kind of a good thing to keep in mind, because if we look at the data over here, that's that 786 at 167. So I feel like that's kind of a reasonable price target for Bitcoin. But yeah, and then I'm just going to go over Gevo at the end because I said I would to somebody in the comments. So this is one that it's been a while since I looked at it. And so I just took that measurement. I think delete that. I don't know how useful that is. I'm just going to delete all this. This gap was filled, so I can delete that too. So with this one, what I would say is that could be, some downtrending resistance. And if we go from, the lows over here up to the highs here, it pulled back to around the golden pocket, consolidated there before moving higher. And so I'm just going to color that yellow so it can stand out. And I'm just going to do the same thing, but from the low here to the top here. And so if it repeats itself, it could be coming back to 194 here, or maybe right around 2. And so maybe that's a bottom before the same thing happens again, and maybe it gets rejected from this downtrend. But I think that this could end up forming a falling wedge or some form of a wedge pattern. I just want to see where the low is here. Yeah, so this, what was the low over here? 130. So this is higher lows, believe it or not. Oh, and one thing, I did want to mention something about Bitcoin I'll come back to in just a second. But yeah, so there's a level there, so I might make that a little bit thicker, make it light blue, and I'll make this downtrend also a little bit thicker and light blue. So I'd kind of look for it to be trading in this range, and another higher lows that it could be forming is just based on the low over here and then falling like the lows over here, approximate bottom there. That could be another level. And if it does pull back to, even if it breaks down to like 165 or 66, that could still be finding support here with this white line, which I'll just make a little bit thicker. So maybe I want to make it even thicker than that. But yeah, so hopefully that's helpful. And one thing that I wanted to mention about Bitcoin is just a channel that I've been following recently. I started following him on X, but I follow him, on YouTube now. He kind of puts out, these videos where it's like making the pumping face and all of that. Like, he's pretty good at making videos. And it's really interesting too. I'm not sure where he's from. He has an accent. Very impressed with somebody to be speaking as quickly as him, going over this stuff, and with English not being his first language. And so I just think that they're great videos. I think he does a really, really good job. And every day he puts one out because he's in Europe. They come out pretty early in the morning. And he's always talking about how we're entering alt season. I agree with that. It matches the cycle. And he goes over a number of different charts. He also has more recently been talking about the possibility of the price breaking down a little bit, just to kind of prepare for that. So he's one that I watch. His videos are 10 minutes long at most, 10:25, 10:15. These are, 9, 7. And yeah, Crypto Rover. So I think he's a pretty good person to follow, whether on YouTube or X. But, with all of that being said, I'm going to get heading to bed because my eyes are closed. And it is actually past my bedtime. But, I'm sure you guys already are. But just in case you aren't, and if you haven't, make sure you like the stream, subscribe to the channel for more streams like this. I try to do it every Sunday. Next Sunday, I'll be able to do it. But then the Sunday after, I'm going to be at a wedding. So I won't be able to make many videos that weekend at all. But yeah, and then also, oh, sorry, I think Vincent mentioned something about, or no, it was Horatio. Oh, it was Greg's birthday. Okay, and actually, I have my birthday coming up on Thursday, and I was thinking about doing a streamathon where I stream from open to close, but I don't think that would necessarily be that useful. And, in the sense that it would just be like a really long day for me streaming, and it would be my birthday, and I don't necessarily want to be streaming all day. But what I might do is try to stream before the market opens, going over the options data that I go over, and I can take requests if you guys have them, or you can just kind of follow up with it later. And then maybe I'd stream like a half an hour into the market being open. So I'd stream for maybe an hour, starting half an hour before it opens to a half an hour after it opens. And then maybe do the same thing around close. And the reason why I would like to do that is because my hope is that I'm able to quit my job this year. I think I'll be able to, but maybe stuff doesn't go the way I expect. And it would be nice to have a structure around making videos every day that are fairly, routine, that are also good for me in my trading, that encourage good practices for me. And then that would just be more content for the channel. And then I could do other individual tickers or, the options videos, ticker requests live on Sundays. So I kind of just wanted to be developing like a schedule. And so on my birthday, I might do that as an experiment to see how it goes. And then maybe moving forward on the days that I have off, I would do that. And then the time between open and close, I could then be productive at home, because I've got to be like removing some siding, not over the winter, but getting into the spring and summer, got to be doing a lot of work outside. And that having that structure with the channel around the market open and close, focus on that, work on stuff, and then come back for close. I think that could be a really good schedule for me. So I'm going to try it out on Thursday and see how it goes. But yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out. I hope you have a great rest of your night, great start to Monday, and that you have a great first 5 days trading in 2025. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, and have a good night.